believe that we've entrusted our zoning to the county. They've established guidelines, used their expertise, and have the resources of the state's attorney available to address any legal challenges. Why would we, as a township supervisor, risk our residents and landowners, tax dollars, when we have already vetted ordinance in place? In all my years on the township board, our account has never exceeded $40,000. We spent an average of $10,000 on graveling, $7,000 on spraying, about $7,000-8,000 on blading. If we're fortunate enough to have a mild winter, we might have a small surplus. But a harsh winter can easily cost upwards $6,000. These costs, along with other expenses, insurance, leave little room for anything else. Legal fees are not in our budget. So, I urge the zoning commission to approve the amendments before you today. I believe there are reasonable and common sense changes to the ordinance. This project can finally move forward and allow us to move on. Thanks.
Jeff Ball.
I'm going to give some qualifications first. I took over my family business in 1980, a body shop. It was started in 46 by my uncle, my father, two kids together. So I've got 45 years volunteer service, rock band. I've got 25 years volunteer service, rock theater, and I've got 28 years service, rock fire. So almost 100 years of consecutive service, volunteer service to the citizens of the county. I was also a county commissioner for 12 years, that I was paid for by the citizens of the county. One of the things I did when I was a commissioner is I would read Century Code. When we had something coming up before the board, I like to read Century Code to find out what the county could do, what the county could not do, because those actions are very carefully regulated by Century Code. One thing I found, and the reason I did this was not to be a lawyer or interpret Century Code, but it was so I was able to ask halfway intelligent questions of the state's attorney. One thing I learned in Century Code, when you go through, there'll be chapters, subsections, and all this stuff. Subsection 3 will say 1 + 1 is 2. Subsection 5 will say, yes, that's true, except in this condition. That's why almost everything has to be interpreted by the state's attorney to find out what exactly is going on. The other thing is Century Code has a lot of semicolons in it. And to me, when you put a semicolon in a sentence, it fills it full of ambiguity. You don't know what they're talking about. So, the key point of this is Century Code is full of loopholes, pinholes. You know, you can interpret it 6 different ways. So, the opposition to this action today, in the past, has been, in my opinion, throwing loads of stuff against the wall to see what sticks. Okay? This can go on for years. Because there will always be a small pinhole that could apply, probably won't. So the point of this is I would ask the boards here to, unless there's a major obstacle, some major thing that's blown up, not to follow down the gopher hole and make a decision based on the intent of the law. Thank you.
Thank you. Amanda Hagan.
Thank you for your time and effort you put into reviewing these proposed amendments. I know you've heard many hours of testimony already, and there isn't much new information left to present. What I do want to remind everyone is something important that can get lost in the noise. This project started with our community. As Amy said, it wasn't an outside company pushing wind development here, it was our neighbors. We were the ones encouraging development and looking for opportunity that would benefit Eddy County. We were also the ones courting PRC to partner with us on this project. and since that time, they've worked with our community every step of the way. They've responded to concerns, made adjustments when asked, and gone beyond what was required. In addition to the community benefit agreement, they've supported local efforts like post-prom, the community foundation, the daddy-daughter dance, and the DPRC plays, just to name a few. They've been present and engaged in our community more than even some locals have. When some residents asked for a 1 mile setback, even though it wasn't required, the company agreed. There's some false claims being said, but facts are out there. This is what cooperation looks like. At this point, it does feel like goalposts continue to move. It feels like people are trying to solve the project for possible financial gain. Meanwhile, the majority of participating landowners have been cleared. They are ready to move forward. Change can feel uncomfortable, the unknown always does. But wind development is not new and it's not unregulated. Projects must comply with county setbacks, road agreements, environmental standards, FAA determinations, and state siting rules. County zoning is just one layer of oversight. It's not the only one. Ordinances get clarified, language gets updated, standards get defined. Agriculture has done this for generations. That is exactly what these amendments are doing. But we can also see that over-regulating until nothing gets built isn't going to benefit our county either. The current ordinance doesn't clearly outline how wind projects are permitted, and that has already created confusion. These amendments simply clarify the process to be ensured it aligns with Century Code. Clarifying rules doesn't remove protections, it makes sure everyone understands the process and that it follows state law. At the end of the day, the participating landowners have rights. They have made their decision, and they have been waiting a long time to move forward. Remember, this didn't start in a boardroom in some city, it started right here. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Gary Hagan.
Good morning. I have a prepared presentation. Here's copies if you want to follow along. Good morning. My name is Gary Hagan. I'm an county landowner, and I have here to share my perspective as property owner whose land is within the footprint of the proposed wind project. Thank you to the zoning committee, county officials, and community members for my opportunity to speak this morning. My family has owned this land for many years and has long been for agricultural time. We signed a wind lease because we believe it's a responsible opportunity for our property and part of our family's long-term planning. We're not here on behalf of the developer. I'm here simply as a landowner explaining why we made this decision and what we hope the county considers in its update of the ordinances. First and foremost, we want to be clear. We support this project moving forward, providing it is done in responsible, under clear, and enforceable rules. I also want to address the safety concerns that have been raised. We understand these concerns and we take them seriously. Our expectation is that the project will meet applicable state and federal standards and the county will enforce those requirements through permitting, inspections, and oversight. From our perspective, the county's role is to establish reasonable rules and then hold the developer accountable for those standards. The workable ordinance should also recognize that there are both parties participating, landowners and neighbors who are not part of the project. The goal should be rules responsible that address impacts such as safety, noise, and setbacks while still allowing property owners who choose to participate make lawful use of their land. As a landowner, we are also meaningful benefits being available to us responsible for our property and plans for the future. For our family, land is one way to help, for our family, the lease is one way to help manage long-term costs and maintaining viable agricultural land use. My focus today, though, is to the ordinance itself, whether it be balanced and workable. At the heart of the discussion is the predictability and fairness. Landowners need to know that this is a project that can meet fair standards, it can be evaluated based on those standards. Neighbors deserve rules that address legitimate concerns, and the county deserves ordinance that can be administered and enforced without confusion or consistent misinterpretation. In closing, our position is simple and clear. We support reasonable wind development. We support clear, enforceable zoning rules and we ask the county to avoid unnecessary or overly restrictive requirements that would prevent landowners from making lawful use of their property. A balanced ordinance protects neighbors, respects property rights, and provides clarity for everyone to contribute to move forward.
Your time,
Thank you very
sir.
much for your time.
Now I'm having a technical difficulty with that.
Very good.
Yep.
Bill Ziegler.
Good morning. On this permit process and the zoning, has anything been addressed as far as demolition, the eventual demolition? I just talked this week to Paul Matheny, who's the general manager of the casino. I said, when they took that one down, why was that? He said the windings were shot. They couldn't find anybody to fix it, so they took it down. Those are about 110 feet to the center of the hub. Who's going to go up 260 some feet to the center of the hub? You're going to climb up there and fix that. Anyway, there's a fellow from Edmonton, there's a farm site of 20, and they haven't worked for years. June 8th, I was at a horse event north of Alva. I see 15, and there's 6 not working. And I asked at the gas station, what's with that? He says, repair is non-existent. I looked it up before I came here. The demolition and reclamation runs from $400,000 to $600,000 per tower. Is there a bond required for people when they put these up that we're going to get paid? Who's going to pay that on all of this? Because they eventually will wear out. That's going to be a colossal amount of money. And you get people that just lease a spot of land, put a couple on while they walk away from the lease. Who's going to pick that up? Has that been addressed in all this? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes everybody that has signed up. Is there anybody else that wants to get up and speak?
My name is Bruce Ajak, I'm from Madison, North Dakota, and everything was brought up here except one thing. If this wind farm is built, you're going to have a transmission line going south using the main line. That's going to make New Rockford power sick. You'll be able to draw electricity up there for the business at all. That should be considered in all these ordinances.
Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay, that concludes that portion of our meeting.